Siblings born just 5 years apart often grow up in entirely different cultural realities. An older sibling might remember a world of deliberate communication, while the younger navigates a landscape of algorithmic trends and digital dialects that change every few weeks. Historically, we defined a generation by the biological timeline of reproduction, the 20 to 30 years it takes for one group to raise the next. But that definition is failing. Today, generations are defined by the speed of social and technological change rather than the family tree. When culture moves fast enough, the biological age gap becomes secondary. In this environment, a decade of historical change can create more distance between people than 30 years of biological aging ever could. In a traditional agrarian society, the pace of history was nearly static. On these terraced hillsides, the tools and social structures remained consistent for centuries. In that slow environment, a great-grandparent and a great-grandchild lived within the exact same economic and cultural parameters. The world they were born into was the world they died in. Digital technology and globalized trade compressed that timeline in a single generation. Today, a person sitting in that same traditional market is instantly connected to global movements, pulling their attention away from the local, physical past. We have created a society where information and social movements outrun the legal and physical infrastructure meant to manage them. The slow, agrarian pace of our political institutions simply cannot catch up. For youth in developing or isolated regions, the internet acts as a massive cultural accelerant. It provides a constant 24-hour window into globalized wealth and lifestyles. This creates a gap between what young people see on their screens and what their local economies can actually provide. They develop global aspirations that are immediately blocked by regional reality. Algorithms intensify this frustration by funneling users into reactive echo chambers. These digital spaces validate personal grievances and heighten the sense of urgency. This environment rewards hyper-individualism and short attention spans. It builds an expectation that any problem should have an immediate, visible solution. The smartphone has shifted the youth's political timeline. They no longer measure the success of a government over a 4-year term. They measure it by the speed of their latest feed. Traditional political parties rely on a slow, top-down tree of command, requiring years of patience. The modern youth network bypasses that leadership. It organizes through social media flash mobs, allowing thousands to coordinate in the physical world without a central office. When a protest begins as a benign call to action online, the network can scale it so rapidly that it escapes the control of its original organizers. When a rigid state security apparatus tries to contain a decentralized, impatient movement, the result is often a total breakdown. The charred facade of a parliament building is physical evidence of what happens when slow institutions fail to process the velocity of a modern mob. The traditional political model is struggling to remain relevant because its architecture cannot physically process or respond to the sheer speed of the digital network. If the old, long-term political ideologies are fading, what takes their place? In many regions, the vacuum is being filled by a new form of digital age populism. This style of politics is leader-centric and highly flexible. It discards complex, multi-year theories in favor of immediate, short-term action plans that can be explained in a single post. It functions like a viral trend. It survives by constantly adapting its message to match whatever the crowd is demanding at that exact moment. Many Gen Z voters gravitate toward this model because its lack of bureaucracy allows it to function within the same immediate feedback loop as a digital network. This shift represents a process called Agentification, the transfer of power to those who have the agency to navigate the new environment. For most of history, elders dictated the future because they held the land, controlled the resources, and the institutional knowledge. But the speed of the digital era has inverted that dynamic. The older generation's expertise can become socially and technologically obsolete before their retirement. Because young people intrinsically understand the digital landscape, they hold the actual agency to dictate where society moves next. Established governments that cannot match this pace face more than just protests. They face total replacement. We saw this in the elections of 2026. where every established traditional party was sidelined by a new movement that moved at the speed of the street.